Hello everyone. Good day. I am Jen Vincent Hamot. Today I'll gonna share my insights or answers on the Supreme Court decision involving the online libel under Republic Act of 10175, also known as the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. So, based on the strictly on the Supreme Court ruling in the people of the Philippines versus Mr. Humerito or Jumerito S. Suliman uh, on the April 25, 2023 as published in this case. So I'm gonna answer the following questions, which is what is the case all about? What are the issues on this case? Also, what are the facts of this case? Also, what are the rulings of the Supreme Court? Also, my takeaways and our learnings about this case. So, first is what is the case all about? So, simply the case all about the online libel and the proper penalty under the Republic Act of 10175. So the Supreme Court stated that this case involves libel committed through a computer system and other similar means or the online libel as defined and penalized under the section of 4C4 of Republic Act 10175. So the case is about the Facebook post of Mr. Sir Jumerito and allegedly defamatory statements and whether the penalty was imposed by the trial court was correct under the law. So uh, the controversy is not whether the online libel exists, but whether the regional trial court committed grave abuse of discretions in imposing only a fine instead of imprisonment. So this makes the case very important in understanding how penalties under Republic Act of 10175 are applied. So next question is what are the facts of on this case? So the facts as stated in Supreme Court decision, which according to the ruling, so Mr. Sir Humerito Soliman posted statements on Facebook on or about in January 23, 2018. So these statements were directed against to Mr. Waldo Carpio, which is a public official. So the court noted that Mr. Soliman posted statements accusing Mr. Carpio of wrongdoing and misconduct on his official functions. So the Supreme Court described the post as false and malicious imputations, so which were calculated to cause dishonor, public hatred or contempt or ridicule. So because these statements were defamatory and it was posted online where many people are using nowadays and it was accessible to the public. So the act fell under the online libel section 4C4 of the Republic Act 10175. So the current actions, which the regional trial court or the RTC found that Mr. Soliman was guilty beyond reasonable doubt of online libel. So as penalty of the RTC, it was imposed a fine of 50,000 pesos, and it with a subsidiary of imprisonment in case of the non-payment. So about that is Mr. Soliman paid the fine, which is the 50,000 pesos, and he did not appeal. However, the office of the Solicitor General, or the OSG, challenged the RTC decisions that claiming that the penalty was incorrect. So next question, which is the third question, what is the issues on this case? So it was highlighted in the case that the Supreme Court identified the main legal issues as follows: that whether or not the RTC committed grave abuse of discretions in imposing only a fine as penalty for online libel under Republic Act of 1017, or the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. So the issues was Mr. Soliman correctly convicted of online libel, or it was stating that the Facebook post was clearly fell under the libel committed through a computer system. So also, one of the issue is that should the penalty have been imprisonment instead of a fine of 15,000 pesos. So the OSG argued that the Section 6 of Republic Act 10175 states that the crimes committed using the uh, ICT, it should be punished 1 degree higher. So therefore, imprisonment should be mandatory. So, uh, so the case, the issues or the core issues that are resolved by the Supreme Court. So, next question is that what is the ruling of the Supreme Court? So, in my insights or my answers about that questions based on the case is that the Supreme Court uh, denied the petition and affirmed the RTC decision. So the court clearly ruled that this court uh, finds no grave abuse of discretions on the part of the RTC in imposing the penalty of the fine, which is the 50,000 pesos. So the Court explained that both the revised penal code and the Republic Act 10175 allows the penalties of the imprisonment or the fine of 50,000 pesos. So the court emphasized the imprisonment of a fine. I mean, yeah, instead of imprisonment is allowed under the law. So even if the penalty is 1 degree higher, so the court still have the discretions in choosing between imprisonment or fine. And the final judgment, so the court also stated that the judgment had already attained finality. So since Mr. Soliman already paid the 50,000 fine, it increasing the penalty would violate double jeopardy. So the Supreme Court stated that once a judgment becomes final, so it can no longer be a modified in any aspect. I mean, any respect. So, uh, my uh, takeaways or learnings in this case is that online libel is a punishable crime. So the case confirms that Facebook posts can give rise to criminal liability, liability under the Republic Act of 10175. So the court also have discretion in imposing penalties even under the Cybercrime Prevention Act. So a fine may still be imposed instead of imprisonment. So it depends on the circumstances of the case. So third is that Republic Act 10175 does not automatically mean jail time. So the phrase 1 degree higher does not remove judicial discretion. So the court clarified this interpretation clearly in the decision. So also, final judgments are protected by the double jeopardy. So once the penalty is a final and it was executed, it cannot be increased, even if the prosecution disagrees. So this protects the constitutional rights. So that's include my insights or answers about the questions, the 5 questions that our prof are of this activity. So this includes explaining how the Republic Act of 10175 is applied to online libel. So I hope this would help you understand cybercrime law better. So thank you for watching.